Hey family, how you guys doing? Welcome to Phie.Love Intuitive Conversations. I hope you guys are good. Yeah? If you like my content, please do like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, if there's any negativity, if there's any hate, please do keep that on your side of the street, okay? Won't be acknowledged. So, family, in this video, I'm being guided by Spirit to talk a little bit about grounding and taking a little bit more consideration before we decide to initiate things like union of marriage. Well, marriage, union in the form of marriage with somebody, right? We can save ourselves a lifetime of stress and unnecessary binding and restriction by simply just I think Spirit maybe once this video will reach who it needs to reach, okay? So I'm going to just speak, okay? So when that time comes that people decide to initiate marrying somebody or marrying one another, there's a tendency to get caught up in the external expectations around the idea of marriage, as well as the emotions and the romanticized illusion that we get stuck in, right? When we create that dream that we want with somebody, right? And while all of that is going on, none of those things are grounded. None of those things take you as an individual into consideration. None of those things encourage you taking a moment by yourself with no noise on the outside, no demands, no opinions, just you. You're allowed to actually also make this entire thing about yourself, because it's yourself that needs to be present. It's yourself and your energy and your focus that you're committing to a person and a situation, and whatever other expectations that you have within yourself developed around it, culturally, traditionally, religiously. All of these things play a role, right? And there's sometimes, in many situations, regarding you as an individual, you tend to want to accommodate the other things before yourself. The wife, the church, the family, the expectations, whatever has been romanticized to you around marriage, the dream, all of the things that don't actually consider you as an individual. In one of my earlier videos, very much in the beginning, I did a video around as women, that was more directed to women, considering and being more considerate and understanding that men should be allowed to break down and bust at the seams too, at least once or twice, at least once or twice in a year. Men go through a lot, right? they deal with a lot. They have a lot on their shoulders. It's being the, you know, and consider these things as well in what I'm talking about. It's being the perfect son, being the perfect husband, being the perfect employee, being the perfect boss, being the perfect father, being the one who brings in the money, being the pillar of the family, being all, you know, men have to deal with a lot. And I think it's, you know, the existing in the chaos and the pressure of it all has been normalized and also just layered as a real expectation onto them. And in the same breath, have, you know, had them tie has had them tie their own, you know, self-worth and masculinity, you know, to it all. And you know, nobody cares about the pressure and the background that men go through of having to, you know, they don't catch it. They're not given a real break. Women, you know, women are given more compassion when they go through breakdowns. When a woman fails, there's compassion given because society is programmed that way to be more softer towards women. But men don't, you know, have the same kind of grace. Men tend to be looked down in society when they go through things like breakdowns or, you know, needing to purge and release and all these things. Anyway, that's a lot of what that video was focused around. And towards the end of the video, I shared a story on a man that I once encountered, right? That I met him briefly shortly before I had moved cities in 2022. And when I came into his vicinity, he was crying. Okay, I'm going to just briefly talk about the story again. When I came into his vicinity, he was crying. And I couldn't understand why he was crying. He was a grown man, you know, I knew him. He was a third party to the people that I was actually, you know, to the home of the people that I arrived at. And he was sat there crying because he had just gotten engaged and he was a short while away from getting married. But he was so stressed, and he was already a father of 2, and he wanted to marry this woman. But he was crying, and you know, he said, you know, he told me he felt so unworthy. And as he kept on talking, it became apparent to me that this man felt unworthy because he's moving into a really big thing in his life. This is a really big shift, you know. And he felt unworthy because his wife or his fiance was stressing him out about not meeting his expectations, and he was just really overloaded. He was under a lot of pressure, having to digest big shifts in life, having to be a father to 2 children, having a woman who might not even be fully emotionally mature or developed, stressing you out and making you feel less, you know, less capable and able as a man, and stressing you out about your role in a household. And you know, with him wanting to live up to the external expectations of the world, you know, with him wanting to be a husband and wanting, you know, being a father and looking after his household, it became a lot for him to deal with. And you know, when these big shifts happen, especially, and I'm not saying she wasn't the right person for him, but if she hasn't worked on herself as well and gone through her tampering processes, she won't understand the struggle that he's going through and only expect him to satisfy what it is that she wants and needs in a specific moment in time. The compassion for him as well within our societal programming, will not be offered as needed. What he needed was time alone. What he needed was time to purge. Nobody is groomed and taught into these things that when you're going through these big changes in life, you have to take some time to purge. You have to look at your life, where you are today, and where have you come from? What cycles are you stuck in? Where are you still existing in wounding that has, that has been buried and is existing within you from your parents, from your childhood? Where do you need to release? Where do you need to cleanse? All these things are much bigger than just a wedding, all the romanticized aspects to getting married. It sounds good to say, I want to spend my whole life with you. But have you genuinely considered what that means? Do you genuinely know the person that you're saying you want to do this with? Are you genuinely considering if someone hasn't already been through a tempering process? Are you willing to stick by their side when they go through their growing pains, when they change, when they evolve, when they go, And this has to be something vice versa, not just thinking about the other person, but also understand, how well do I understand the next person? Are they somebody who would be, willing to withstand and not buckle by the knees when I go through some of these things? Am I grounded enough? Have I dropped my ego enough to recognize that I have a whole life ahead of me? I've got to, I need to grow, I need to evolve. Things will change. My life, my situation, my state of being will not always be the same. Having marriage, having the stability, having marriage and having a home does not equate to guaranteed happiness. Not if the internal states of both people is not dealt with and grounded, right? And yes, everyone has to learn, and people also, they find their way as they grow. But again, you'll only find your way with someone you marry as you grow. If you're married to somebody who is able to move with you, grow with you, withstand with you through the ebbs and flows. So, before you go into those kinds of situations, family, you can save yourself a whole lot of heartache. You can save yourself a whole lot of stress by also taking time to make your decision about you and not all the expectations and everything else on the outside. Okay? If you're being pressured to get married, if you're being pressured to go into these kinds of unions and contracts because somebody's impatient, because somebody hasn't, someone else is being pressured by their own external world, speaking down on you for not offering some sort of a commitment at a certain point in time. These are all things you need to consider. Be real about, be rational about. Don't be pressured by the outside world. Who are you marrying? And whose standards are you and your partner living up to? Your own? Whose pace and whose expectations are you both living up to? Your own or those of the outside world? Your own or the expectations and the fairy tales that you've had programmed into you? Ladies, we live in a world where, the narrative of, finances and providing have also just been weaponized, okay? If you're joining with a man who places all of his self-worth and his value on his material, on his money, on his notoriety, on all those things, his ideas of success. If that's where his value lies, and he doesn't have value in himself or something bigger, something other than just those things, you're marrying a weak man. He's fragile. He's going, he's going to be easily broken down. When it comes time for his tampering, time for his testing, when his ego is going through the process of being knocked down and stripped, he is not going to be able to be a pillar for you and your family. He's not going to be able to lead, because he won't be able to see the value and worth in himself and something other than, the material, the money, and his idea of success and, notoriety and whatever else it is that he places all his value in and on. He's going to be like a wet baby in a fucking corner somewhere, being whipped by a belt. I know it sounds harsh, but when it's time for our egos to be tempered, it's a painful thing to go through. And if you don't have anything else within you for you to recognize yourself and who you are beyond all the things of the world, that man is not going to be the man that you married. Ground yourselves, and also start looking for something more within men than all the things that you see on the outside. Put them too. It's in them, it's not on them, right? Men have been programmed. Men have been programmed into, men have been programmed into seeing, the women with the insecurities, the women with really serious self-rejection issues as the pleasurable and entertaining thing, and ego expanding thing to align themselves to, right? The women who hide behind the ruler thick masks of makeup, the women who go and botch their bodies because they reject themselves and, they're so insecure that they can't stand themselves without hiding and altering themselves in some way, shape, or form. Those are not the women that the divine brings to you. Those are the women of the world. Those are the women who have been brainwashed. And I know people might not like what I'm saying. Those are the women who have been brainwashed into believing that their worth and their progress in life and their stability is found within the approval of a man and money, and the approval and praise of the internet world, the social media world, right? You join with these women, you join with these women who have these issues, who reside in these states of consciousness and have to really grow and go through whatever they need to go through to evolve out of it, to be able to look at themselves and love themselves and accept themselves beyond the acceptance of a man or the outside world telling them that they're worthy. you join with these women in these states of consciousness, then you find yourself also suddenly your self-image issues are heightened. You're, impregnating these women and having them give birth to children who are, born in that consciousness and that spiritual energy. Let's think beyond our egos. Ground. Take the time to consider everything, the bigger picture, not just what you've been told to focus on and, neglect the realities of these situations that we get wrapped up in. There's no rush, okay? Time is a linear, it's a human construct. You don't have to rush into marriage. You don't have to rush to have children. You don't have to attach yourself and mold yourself in a way so that you can attach yourself to a man's finances, or find yourself worthy enough for a man to give you stability. Build yourself up. And you should actually appreciate a man who will appreciate you and your strength and your ability to build yourself up. And he should want to just support that, not pick you up off the street like you're a street child who's just been put up into a dress and layered with a bunch of makeup. So take your time. Value the purging process before you make these decisions. Go through your process of purging. Look at your habits. Look at the cycles you find yourself in. Be real about the generational issues that you're in and that you maybe need to release and break. What kind of cycles and generational issues do you also see in your partner? Is your partner actually actively, focused on evolving and growing and transcending themselves? Are they concerned about how their own generational issues are going to be transferred onto their children? Are you equally both making an effort, loving each other unconditionally, making and supporting one another beyond the worldly things? There's a lot to consider, right? Make sure that you're not just basing your movements and your decisions off of emotional issues. Is it practical? Is it grounded? Have you got pressure? Is there pressure coming from anywhere? Are you trying to appease parents? Are you trying to appease a woman who is ungrounded and pressuring you into marriage because she's, feeling pressed about something else or someone else on the outside of your relationship that you may or may not be privy to? Who cares how long you've been together? You make your moves when you're both equally ready, and when you believe that you're both, in a place to sustain and maintain and support one another through a different step and direction for a relationship. So, I think I've covered most of what I wanted to say. And it's not selfish, okay? Don't ever let anybody tell you that. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you're selfish for considering yourself. It's your future, it's your life, it's your finances, it's your energy. If you need extra energy and resources to pull somebody in and keep them in your life, take the time as well to ask yourself, why the fuck do I need to have energy and resources to have somebody in my life? Why is somebody here for my energy and my resources? Or are they here for me? It's a grounded question, and a question you'll be able to face if you're able to deal with the truth. But again, it's one of those things, right, where the truth means that if the truth doesn't really align with what you hope, then you have to have the courage to face the truth and take responsibility for the shift of decisions that need to be made, right? When you're making these decisions, people's emotions, your partner's emotions, whoever else's emotions are not the priority. You don't worry about other people's emotions. You stay grounded and make grounded decisions. Okay? So, we might touch again on this in the future. We'll see how I'm guided. Yeah. One more thing that I was consider, okay, if you're getting married and you're still requiring the support of third parties in some way, shape, or form, you're moving into a place and a space in your future of a lot of stress. And it shouldn't be from our masculines. It should not be required out of you to have to take care of your partner's family. Don't put yourself under that stress. This is your life. It's your life force, it's your energy, and it's your resources. If someone joins with you, your responsibility is your partner and your children. Okay? Don't ever be tricked. Don't be tricked into having to take care of people that are none of your business. And if that's required out of you, then again, you need to sit down, be real with yourself, and recognize where your self-worth is at the moment. What is your state? Where are you at a specific moment in time regarding your self-worth? You don't have to find worthiness out of being able to take care of your partner's family. Your partner should not expect that out of you. Right? And you should not have to people please and have to find your acceptance with people by having to, how to say, by having to extend extra energy and resources to be accepted. Okay? Don't let people bully you. Anyway, I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna pull a card from Flower Therapy. I'm really feeling drawn to this deck at the moment by Doreen Virtue. Okay? And see what Spirit has to support our conversation, or to give someone who's watching our video a nudge in a specific direction. And I got the card Let Go of Anxiety by the flower is lavender. And the card says, calm your nerves and you'll be able to hear the voice of your angels. Okay, so another telltale sign where it's the divine helping you and stepping in and trying to also slow you down or guide you is when you feel anxious. Don't fall for the stupid bullshit of people, this thing that the system programs you into to completely neglect your own higher guidance and self and your body's feelings. That stupid shit they tell people when they say that you're having cold feet. How the fuck are you having cold feet for somebody you want to marry and spend the rest of your life with? That's nonsense that's, been put into movies and things to invert, you actually listening to yourself. Anxiety, anything you move into, if you're making a decision that's for your highest good, it will happen easily, effortlessly, and smoothly. The moment there's anxiety, the moment there's fear, the moment there's resistance, The moment there's too many questions, the moment you're questioning yourself in the situation, that's your higher realms and the ancestors and whoever else it is, in the disembodied realm, trying to intervene and get you to slow down and, take a look at a situation from a higher perspective. There may be things you're not considering. It might not be the right time. But we get caught up with our ego, we get caught up with expectations, we get caught up with programming, we get caught up with pressures from other people on the outside. Slow down and don't neglect yourself. Don't neglect when your body or certain things in your environment might be happening to try and get your attention, to get you to slow down. Okay? At the right time, everything will naturally fall into place. If it isn't the right time, slow down and stop trying to push against the current. There will be resistance showing itself, and like I've said before, the divine is in the subtleties of our environment and our reality and our experience. Okay? So, let go of anxiety and take the time for yourself. Let's see what the book has to say so I can also wrap up the video. Let's see. Let go of anxiety. Lavender is a wonderfully charming flower. It has a subtle fragrance that shifts your mind, body, and spirit into a state of relaxation. Enjoy the scent through aromatherapy and lavender pillows and sachets. Focusing on the image of this this flower's blossoms can also impart the same peacefulness. By immersing yourself in the healing energies of lavender, you naturally become calm. Letting go of anxiety and fear allows the voices of your angels to become louder and clearer. These loving beings are with you right now and have drawn you to this card. They're asking you to find your center of calm so that you may reacquaint yourself with them. The angels have the answers to your questions and want to share them with you, but you must first let go of fear-based thoughts. Fear is getting in the way. Additional meanings to this card. Fear is getting in the way. Enjoy restful and restorative sleep. So, take the time. Okay, take the time. Fear, anxiety, being too emotional, ungrounded. Just like the guy in the story that I told you about, he wasn't ready. Internally, he wasn't ready yet. He needed to sit down and take the time for purging. Take the time for realigning. Prepare his heart, his mind, his body, his soul. Align himself to move into the next phase of his life. Sit quietly and recognize, what does he need to release? Where does he stand? Who is he as a man today? Who is he going to be as a husband? What is his trajectory? Don't get caught up with the demands and the emotions and the expectations of women and other people out there, guys. Okay? Expect more. Set a higher standard for